Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
I would say I've had a pretty normal childhood. It's up until the 3rd grade. We lived in Irving, and my dad kind of had started his company. What he was doing was he bought this old truck, and he'd drive it around all of Dallas, bro, trying to find trucks that had broken down on the side of the road.
Okay.
And he would fix them. So all the way up until the 3rd grade, then we moved, and he opened up a shop. And then in the 6th grade, he passed away from a drug overdose. When I was younger, I never really realized what was going on until I got older, bro. And I kind of looked back and I was like, this was like going on. His drug of choice was cocaine. So like walking into him in the living room, like doing coke, bro. When you're younger, you don't really connect the dots, you know what I'm saying? Overall, he was still like, he still taught me a lot.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, man, he taught me also like what not to be as a father. I'm still grateful for that. He got towards the end where like the drug abuse kind of like started taking over a little bit more.
So that early childhood, was he really a part of your life, kind of guiding you, being there present?
Kind of like up until about the 3rd grade.
Okay.
Then when he opened up the business, it kind of like,
Got real busy.
you know, kept him busy, man. He was a workaholic, you know, and so there'd be times where he wouldn't come home, you know, 2 nights in a row. Once I got to like that 3rd grade age, it was like I'd see him a little bit less.
How did that
but it
affect
wasn't,
you?
It was tough, bro. I kind of feel like I grew up, I mean, from 12 on, I did grow up in like a single mother household.
Right.
I never really had someone that like, that male father figure, you know, that teaches you how to change a tire, be a man, essentially, you know what I'm saying? So like, it was tough, man, seeing like my friends with their dads and they, you know, taking them out to do things. But it made me appreciate the privilege more that I have of being a father today. I never want my daughter to ever question like, is my dad gonna be here? Or is he gonna make the right decision for my life, you know? Because there was a time, bro, where I used to blame him for like, man, he should have been around, like he chose drugs over his kids. But my dad had a really messed up childhood growing up too, bro. So like, not that that's an excuse, I hate giving people excuses, but I can understand.
I feel you, because you probably don't know this about me, but my dad bounced when I was 2.
Wow.
You know, he got remarried with somebody else and started a whole new life. And I grew up fatherless my entire life. You know, my mother never remarried.
Yeah,
she didn't bring nobody around. So from 2 and on, bro, it was like, you're now the man of the house. Like, what 2-year-old should ever assume that type of mindset, right? And there's a book that was written, I don't know if you ever heard of it or read it, but I recommend it for anybody watching, listening. It's called The Wild at Heart. And it goes through phases of manhood. And it starts off with boyhood, and it goes to a cowboy phase or Lone Ranger phase. Then it goes to lover phase, warrior phase, king phase, sage phase. It sounded like you had that boyhood child with dad that briefly experienced that cowboy phase. You know, that cowboy phase looks like cops and robbers, you know, cowboys and Indians, and you're playing it, but dad's always like the good guy, right? And he's guiding you, playing with you, you know, teaching you some morals and ethics during that cowboy phase. It seems like you had a little bit of that, and then it went to Lone Ranger. Where on my end, being 2 years old, you're still a boy. I went from boyhood, you know, cut off, straight to Lone Ranger. And it changes. It changes you. It changes your mindset, the way you think, the way you behave, the way you look and perceive things, right? In all aspects of life. So I feel that, man. So I got a better understanding of how your come up looked like early on. Based off what I read in that book, man. Again, if you haven't read that book, I really recommend it. It's really, I'll let you borrow it. I got it at the crib.
Okay, bet.
Let's get this next segment, homie.